What's good, y'all? It's your boy Ross back at again with another video. So we're gonna check out the 10 botched endings to wrestling gimmick matches. Gimmick matches, I guess you could say, they work sometimes, in a sense, depending on what it is, and then sometimes they don't work. Sometimes the gimmick match itself is kind of like outlandish. As you can see right here on the screen, the Punjabi prison match, that it looked cool. But when you really think about it, it just the impracticality of it is just like, this is like basically two like cells, two steel cages, if they were steel, just one in the middle and then another one on the outside. You gotta climb both. It doesn't, I don't know, it just didn't really give me like that match, that stipulation. That match was just always kind of weird. It looked cool, but never really worked in practice. And then, of course, the infamous death barbed wire explosion match. You know what I'm talking about. The one with John Moxley and Kenny Omega, I believe. And that one didn't work. The gimmick and premise was cool, but the execution of the explosions was quite awful. So that was definitely a botched. I'm wondering if they're gonna have that on here. I don't know if they're able to put AEW clips on here, but enough of the talking. I know you guys want to get to the reaction. Appreciate all the love and support. I'm looking forward to this vid. Let's do this thing.
Are one of the best parts of wrestling. They're always a nice change from the more traditional match types, but like with any match, sometimes things can go wrong, and the more moving parts involved, the greater the room for error. This made even worse when it's the finish of the match that ends up getting ruined. Today, we're looking at 10 gimmick matches that had botched endings. Money in the Bank ladder matches can be chaotic at times.
Yes,
Anywhere you look, there's any wrestler and ladder coming out of nowhere. This can make things a bit difficult, and Alberto Del Rio found this out the hard way back in 2011. In an attempt to secure the win, Del Rio would remove the mask of Rey Mysterio. Del Rio was then meant to grab the briefcase to secure the victory, but as he was set to do this, Mysterio placed both hands over his own face to stop people from seeing him while he was unmasked. This meant that he couldn't balance properly on the ladder, and as a result, he knocked into Del Rio's ladder, forcing both men to fall to the mat. Del Rio looked visibly frustrated, but shortly after he readjusted the ladder and eventually won the match.
Oh wow, yeah, I remember that happening. It wasn't supposed to happen like that.
WCW in the year 2000 threw a lot of things at the wall, and very few of them stuck. One such example that could have been a great wrestling match ended up being another one of the company's blunders. Dean Malenko faced Billy Kidman at Sold Out 2000 in a catch-as-catch-can match. The idea was that this match would favor an in-ring technician like Malenko, and the rules of the bout were that neither wrestler could leave the ring, as this was supposed to be a wrestling match fought exclusively inside the squared circle. And this had all the makings of being a hot opener to start the pay-per-view. But just 2 minutes into the match, Dean Malenko would roll out of the ring to take a breather, as he completely forgot the main rule of the match. And much to the surprise of Malenko, just like that, the match was over, and Billy Kidman was declared the winner.
The match is over, isn't it? The match is over. Dean is on the floor, and the match is over.
Wow.
I'm not so sure Dean even realized what happened. Referee Charles Robinson is called for the bell.
Wow.
Sticking with WCW in 2000 for a match on Nitro, pitting Booker T against Jeff Jarrett in a San Francisco 49ers match, where the stipulation was to find the gold. And what better way to decide the WCW championship
I remember
than in a match?
Someone talking about this. They put the championship in boxes, bro. You had to figure out where it was. Oh my god.
Where the objective is to climb a pole and open a wooden box with the hope the title belt will be inside. Thank you, Vince Russo. After Beetlejuice took care of Jeff Jarrett, Booker T was set to retrieve the belt from the final available box, but hilariously the belt would fall to the floor before Booker could take it out, thus ruining the finish. Ring announcer David Pencer then handed Booker the belt. This was the type of match where you just feel bad for the wrestlers involved.
Yeah.
Booker T's got the belt fell out, but now the only thing he's got to do is grab the man as he did.
The dangers of a ladder match are on show again here, as Jeff Hardy challenged Mr. Anderson for the TNA Championship at Against All Odds in 2011. With both men each perched on the ladder, Jeff was to hang on to the belt, then unstrap it and bring it down to the mat with him. But Hardy would lose his grip and endured a nasty landing, falling against both ladders. Jeff then drop-kicked Anderson and climbed back up the ladder to claim the belt.
Yeah, but neither can he now.
Oh my god.
We've got one more ladder match here, this time from SummerSlam 1995, when Razor Ramon battled Shawn Michaels for the Intercontinental Championship in a rematch from WrestleMania 10. Michaels would be all set to win after throwing Razor out of the ring, but Shawn didn't position the ladder directly under the belt so he could easily underhook it. So, in a similar situation to Hardy previously, HBK attempted to grab hold of the title and unhook it in midair. The belt didn't budge though, and Shawn fell to the mat empty-handed. A furious Michaels then repositioned the ladder so that this time, he could successfully capture the title.
You could tell he was mad.
The steel cage match is designed to keep wrestlers out, but that still doesn't stop people trying to get in. The key word being try, as we'll soon find out. As during a cage match between Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman on SmackDown in 2003, Lesnar was set to deliver the F5, but Brock's rival at the time, Kurt Angle, intended to put a stop to this. However, Angle couldn't get the cage door open after 30 seconds of trying. All Lesnar could do was walk around the ring with Heyman on his shoulders. Eventually, Kurt opted to climb up and over the cage to get at Brock. All future versions of this match would completely edit out Angle trying to open the cage door, instead immediately cutting to him climbing over into the ring.
Here comes Kurt. Angle's climbing into the cage. Look out!
Yeah, that's awkward. You're not even looking at to see him. You're not even looking at to see him. I would have just called an audible, but I don't think he knew. I don't know if he knew or not, but yeah, he's just walking around with Paul Heyman on, like. Yeah, I would have probably called an audible. Just go ahead, F5 Paul Heyman.
But Kurt would not be alone, as 3 years later, Mark Henry's battle with the cage door would be even worse. The world's strongest man was about to interfere in the tag team steel cage match involving Eminem versus Batista and Rey Mysterio. Henry was supposed to enter the cage by ripping the door from its hinges, but the door was not gimmicked ahead of time like was meant to be the case. As a result, Henry spent nearly a minute and a half on television trying to crack the door open, eventually managing to break the chain off.
I know the world's strongest man.
You hear the crowd, someone in the crowd, you're the world's strongest man. Come on, bro. What are you doing?
Immediately. Our next entry is perhaps one of the most brutal endings to a matchup, as we go back to ECW in 1997, when Terry Funk put the ECW Championship up against Sabu in a barbed wire ring rope match. Towards the finish, both men become completely entangled in barbed wire, to the point where Terry Funk can't get up off the mat. This meant the finish had to be changed on the fly, as Funk was due to retain his title, but since he couldn't get up, both men called an audible, and Sabu would score the 3 count to become the new ECW champion.
It's over.
As we saw, barbed wire is
I called it. You know this match had to be on there.
dangerous enough, but an exploding barbed wire death match is taking it to another level. And this would be the stipulation when Jon Moxley fought Kenny Omega for the AEW World Championship at Revolution 2021. The premise for this match type is that once the timer reaches 0, the entire ring explodes, regardless if the match has ended or not. But the conclusion to Omega vs Moxley couldn't have been any more anticlimactic, as 4 sparklers lit up the ring post and we were treated to 4 mini explosions. AEW would end up being refunded the $100,000 it cost to rig the explosions.
Damn. That was awful.
Kenny Omega may be a tough son of a bitch, but he can't make an exploding ring worth of shit. I've seen more dangerous shit on ridiculousness on MTV. What the fuck was that?
Even John was like, what the hell? That was awful.
The final example comes from the 2021 Royal Rumble, when Roman Reigns defended the Universal Championship.
This match was so goddamn fun. I'm going to keep saying this. Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns was one of my best feuds of that year. This match was fun. I watched this and I was just a kid in a candy store. This brought me back to like the stage brawls from the Attitude Era. It was so fun, bro. I love this match. Love this match. One of my favorite matches from that year. It was chaos. It's just the ending was definitely screwed up.
Versus Kevin Owens in a last man standing match. Reigns would be handcuffed to a lighting rig, with his special counsel Paul Heyman attempting to unlock his client using a key, but Heyman would have a hard time getting the cuffs unlocked and while he struggled, the referee would begin the 10 count. Eventually, the ref would be signaled off camera to stop, as it was clear Reigns was not going to make it back to his feet in time. Once Roman was finally free from the handcuffs, he would then choke Kevin Owens out with a guillotine, leaving Owens unable to answer the 10 count, which allowed Reigns to win the match and retain the Universal title.
As Heyman struggles to unhook the
Yeah,
tethering the Universal Champion.
and that brings us to the end of this video.
Oh,
As always, if
yeah,
you enjoyed
that
the
was-
video,
that
be
was
sure to give it a
bad.
like and subscribe to the channel.
botched
And if you
that
find it interesting
poorly.
hearing about moments in wrestling,
That match was so goddamn good, and then they botched the ending. They botched it. It messed it up, timing, everything. But yeah, man, this was enjoyable. I'm surprised they didn't put the Punjabi. Well, I guess the ending of the match, it was supposed to end like that or whatever. It wasn't really no botched endings to it. It's just certain gimmick wrestling matches. They work and then they don't work, or they most of the time they sound good when they're like in theory, but when they actually happen, you be like, this doesn't make a lick of sense. When you actually think about it, like, what type of fucking match is this? This is, for example, the Inferno matches sound cool. In theory, like in just theory making up, they're awesome. But when you actually think about it, the practicality of them is very, very dangerous, you know, and you know, you're literally setting someone on fire. Like, it's kind of a wild thing. Also, the you know, it's still an enjoyable match, but it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's just something about setting your opponent on fire, potentially killing them, is giving them third-degree burns. Kind of wild. I think the most recent one I can think of where it was just like, I couldn't take it no more. It's just, it was too gimmicky. If you guys remember, I think it was the Extreme Rules. It had to have been pandemic era, so maybe 2020. I could be wrong. Rey Mysterio versus Seth Rollins, an eye for an eye match, and then they used a fake eye for Rey Mysterio. One of the worst gimmick matches of all time. I literally I couldn't take it. A fake eyeball. And now Rey can see fine again. Okay. And then Seth Rollins threw up after he inflicted the damage. You can't win until you gouge out an opponent's eye. I love me some wrestling. That's all I can say, for the good and the bad. Comment down below. Let me know, what's the worst gimmick match you've ever seen or heard of all time. I know WCW definitely had some awful gimmick matches. I know that for a fact. In WWE, for sure. So comment down below. Let me know. But I appreciate all the love and support. We're almost at 80K, man. We're only a few hundred away. So can we get to 80K this week? We will find out. Appreciate all the love and support. Appreciate y'all kicking with me. See you on the next one.